उस टाइम एशियन गेम का प्रस्तुति चल रहा था, 2000 एशियन गेम्स, बैंकॉक एशियाड गेम्स। तो उसी टाइम में पटियाला से फर्स्ट 11 में चांस मिला था हमको। फिर कलकत्ता साई में आया, तो उस टाइम चल रहा था, पूरा पासपोर्ट भी हो गया था, वीज़ा भी हो गया था। हमको एयरपोर्ट से पता चला हमको कुछ प्रॉब्लम है, मेरा शारीरिक कोई प्रॉब्लम है, हमको नहीं ले जाएगा। ये बात सुनकर तो पूरा मैं दिल तोड़ गया। फिर 2-3 दिन बाद देखा जो अखबार में आया है, लड़की को टीम में लड़का खेल रहा है, अखबार में पूरा बंगाल में छा गया। उस टाइम उतना मीडिया नहीं था, फिर भी था, बंगाली पेपर था, टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया था, आनंद बाज़ार था, ऐसे सब चैनल में, पेपर में, अखबार में आ गया। 2-3 दिन बाद पूरा मीडिया से, इंग्लिश से लेके, हिंदी से लेके, बांग्ला से लेके, जितना है, जितना टीवी चैनल से पूरा मुझे पकड़ाया और हम दिल खोल के बात किया। जो हम इंटैक्स था, हम चेंज किया है, हम अभी समाज के सामने एक स्वाभाविक जीवन जैसे गुजर रहा है। हम पूरा ऐसे हर पेपर को सही जो मेरा सही लगा, हम सही सभी को बोला।
मुझे दिल्ली से कॉल आया कि आपको आना है कि साउथ अफ्रीका आपको जाना है, कि टीम जा रहा है, इंडिया टीम। तो मैं दिल्ली में आई। दिल्ली में आने के बाद में मुझे 2 दिन रखने के बाद में एक तो हॉस्पिटल में लेके गया। मुझे पता ही नहीं चला क्यों लेके गया हॉस्पिटल में। फिर मैं हॉस्पिटल में गई, जाने के बाद मेरा फिजिकल टेस्ट किया, ब्लड टेस्ट किया। उसके बाद मैं बोला तुम 2-3 दिन के बाद वहाँ पे रहा, मतलब फिर मुझे बोला तुम घर चले जाओ।
Compete with men or a non-existing intersex category, which is an absurd option because there is no intersex category. And also I need to make it very clear here that I have worked with more than 15 athletes who are hyperandrogenic until today, and I can say this clearly that most of them actually does not identify as intersex. Most of them identify as women, and it's important for a forum, for a platform like this, to also understand that even though the IAF likes to use the term DSD, using DSD or intersex as an umbrella term for athletes who have high level of T but may not identify as one is problematic.
What is the purpose of sport? Yes, sport is to find those outliers, physical outliers, but it's also to find the outliers in society who will lead us to places we have not been to yet. And I think that role of sport, reevaluating what sport can do for society, must sort of reimagine the debate and move away from just pure fair play and integrity into the broader concept of solidarity and the role of sport in society, and bringing in a sort of a more rights-based approach and freedom more than rights, I would say. And if you actually look at the Olympic Charter again, it's the freedom to play. And if you're going to exclude me, find a good reason to exclude me. Don't ask me to fit in.
Being a transgender right activist, we talks about equality, equality, equality. The government of India has truly shown us how equality has been done to us. Means we can say equality in exclusion, where not only a male and female, a woman, children, old aged, but also transgender has been excluded. Now, why NRC is a destructive process, and many of the transgenders were failed to do so, following which most of the transgender got excluded from the NRC.
I'm talking about Manipur, and then in Manipur there were times where before the coming in of a Supreme Court national judgment, we had certain progressive position for the Nupi Manbi community, because after I introduced this beauty parlor run by the transgender women, Trans Nupi Manbi, so people have started acknowledging our existence and the way how we contribute to the society in film company and then the beauty culture. So after that, a certain political influences and a social structure has started attempting and targeting the community to push them to the closet again.
The late 18th century, even a little bit before that. So when this highly male-dominated religious group, as he mentioned, when they said that transgender is not in our culture, it was an attempt not just to erase, they cannot erase a transgender identity, but as you have mentioned before, there is constantly an attempt to heteronormatize the alternate the subjects who have alternate gender and sexuality. Now they know that it's so deeply rooted in our society, they cannot be eliminated, then why not just control them? So even the current legislation, queer legislation, transgender legislation in India is controversial because we feel that that is an attempt to heteronormatize.
ಡಿಜಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಒಂದು ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋರ್ಗು ಎಲ್ಲ ಮನುಷ್ಯರಿಗೂ ಒಂದು ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಪಾರ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ವೀಕ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಡಿಜಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಕಾಣಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಬಟ್ ಜೆಂಡರ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಮ್ಮ ಮನಸ್ಸಿಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಿರೋದು, ನಾವು ಹೇಗಿರಬೇಕಂತ ನಾವು ಹಾಗೆ ತೊಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ. ಬಟ್ ನನ್ನ ಜರ್ನಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸುಸೈಡ್ ವಾರಕ್ಕೆ ಕೂಡ ಹೋಗಿ ಬಂದೆ ನಾನು. ಹೇಳೋಕ್ಕೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಫೀಲಿಂಗ್ ಇದೆ. ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಪಿಂಕಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಬೋನಿ ಅವರು ಫ್ಯಾಮ್ಲಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳುವಾಗ ಕೂಡ ಸೇಮ್ ಅವ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳುವಾಗ ಕೂಡ ಅವ್ರಿಗಂದ್ರೆ ಅವರು ಹೆಂಗೆ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದಿದ್ರು, ಸೇಮ್ ಹೇಳೋಕ್ಕೆ ಟೈಮ್ ಶಾರ್ಟೇಜ್ ಇದೆ ಅಷ್ಟು. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನಾನು ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ಫುಲ್ ಹೇಳೋಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾಯಿಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಲಸ ವಿಷಯನೂ ಹೇಳೋಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಡಿಜಬಿಲಿಟಿ ವಿಷಯಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳಬೇಕಂತ ಹೇಳಿದರೆ, ನಾನು ಚಿಕ್ಕಬಳ್ಳಾಪುರಲ್ಲಿ 2 ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಫಸ್ಟು ನಿಸರ್ಗ ಬಂದು ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಜೆಂಡರ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಜೆಂಡರ್ನ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈ ಮಾಡಿ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ ಕ್ರೈಸಸ್ಸು, ಹೆಲ್ತು ಇದು ಅದು ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಚಿಕ್ಕಬಳ್ಳಾಪುರ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸುಮಾರು 40,000 ಜನ ಜೊತೆ, ವಿಕಲಚೇತನರ ಜೊತೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗುವಾಗ ಅಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಜೊತೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಒಂದೇ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ 40,000 ಜನ ಯಾಕೆ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಒಂದು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಹೋದರೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವಾಟರ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇದೆ, ಫ್ಲೋರೈಡ್ ವಾಟರ್ದಿಂದ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಜನ ಡಿಜಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. 2011 ಸೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಪ್ರಕಾರ 40,000 ಅಂದರೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು.
There's a lot of intersectionality that is not discussed, historical practices, as you said, that have been forgotten. Also in Africa, a lot of people say, no, this is not African. It's something new, it has come from the West. It's there is not enough written about how practices have, which practices have existed and which have not, which are new, and learning to accept this. Religion and spirituality is also something that hasn't been explored. There are trans people who are, for example, traditional healers, which gives them certain prestige. And trans women in rural areas who have been integrated as having inherited, for example, a deceased grandmother or aunt spirit. There is also not enough trying to establish a difference between the experiences of the different LGBT people. When it lumps together the discrimination experiences, then it tends to maybe focus on certain experiences and in detriment to others. Despite the fact that our association being under this feminist umbrella group, trans women have said that the feminist movement does not consider them as women. And they feel discriminated because of this.
The Ndine Tomiwa case, or judgment as we call it, some people say the ND judgment on Tomiwa being the justice who actually rendered this judgment, is one that is really profound. When you look at page 81 of it, it really foregrounds how gender identity, but more pluralistically, identity is at the core of human dignity in and of itself. That the right and freedom to liberty is not just about physical liberty and freedom, but it's also about even that right to conscience, to determine the self, to be able to identify oneself and to have that identity respected by the state actors and by any other person in society, which is really, really crucial when you're looking at this essence of dignity, which is not necessarily enshrined as a right on our constitution, but essentially the whole entire constitutional framework is around attaining human dignity at its core, which is really incredible because the ND judgment gave us that affirmation that was really, really necessary.
So you would think that someone who's more politically liberal would also be socially liberal. But apparently it doesn't work that way. At least our data doesn't show that greater support for a non-nationalist position engenders more support for intimate same-sex relations, and that is not the way it appears to be.
And all of us know the famous Shelley poem, Love's Philosophy. Nothing in the world is single, all things by a law divine, in one another's being mingled, why not I with thine? So, the sexual union, to institutionalize it, only for that the marriage has now come. If this man-man, same-sex relationship, see even now I say man-man only, okay? Again, a patriarchal mindset, I think. The same-sex union, if that is now accepted and legal, why not rather institutionalize it? Therefore, I strongly feel that the right to marry ought to be extended to the members of this community. That is my firm view.
The world of transgender persons and their work, in particular, continues to be invisibilized at the multiple levels in society. This invisibility further obscures their economic role. Significant barriers remain for transgender individuals to enter the world of work or to have access to economic participation.
When we look into policies, we need to go deep down in policies and ask people experiences when they speak policies. Someone on the board making policies for us, deciding for us, who is not even a part of the community, and says, oh, no, this is fine, this is fine, this is fine, this is fine. That cannot be happen. We need to now go into detail of every law when it gives us the fundamental right and see where that inclusive changes is required.
A bill or act need for the people. It need to form for the people, but this completely against the people. As usual, this government continuously, they are doing against the people. A lot of bill, it's happened. And transgender atrocity prevention acts, we want, because within the community also we are facing the discrimination, and the cis community also, they are discriminating us. So we want to prevent that atrocity. So this bill doesn't have anything. So my thing is, do we need it? We don't need this bill.
It's not self-defining. We need to think more about what we mean by self-identification. I'll also say there's a lurking question about the inheritance law. The act is trying to set out an Islamic inheritance law, but not everyone in Pakistan is Muslim. Not every transgender person is Muslim. So should this Islamic inheritance system be applied to non-Muslim transgender people?
We stand where we are today because of the shoulders that the women's rights activists, the women's rights movements, the gender equality movements, and the disability rights movements and our friends there gave us. They gave us their shoulders for us to stand on them and see from a height that wasn't available to us. The queer rights movement, the trans rights movement borrows and draws in heavily from the gender equality movements, the anti-caste movement.
I want to actually emphasize freedom as the supplement of equality, right? Because it is completely possible to be free in an unequal society. We don't have to wait for a day when equality will be given to you for you to be free. Actually, I want to argue that it's precisely because trans people are so free is why they're murdered.
When you said freedom instead of equality, can we not think, as you suggested in one of our earlier conversations, that equality includes freedom? And how do we look at a definition of equality that encompasses freedoms as well?